And for you, I mean, you know, I'm curious because you know it's at the forefront of the discussion in the MMA world with regards to fighter pay and how they're compensated. And you make a lot of great points with regards to health um, and how the way I see it, at least outside looking in, the 300th best NFL player is still making 1,000 times more than the 300th best MMA or maybe the 30th best MMA fighter. For you, as someone who's on the negotiating side of those some of those contracts, are you optimistic that A, it'll be improved in the future, and B, as much as you can or can't say, what are those discussions like on the inside of the MMA landscape on how to improve the quality of life? Because for me, it always kind of breaks my heart, if I have a fighter in here that tells me, I got to work my second job when they're out here, they're a ranked fighter for the UFC.
I do think it is going to improve. I'm skeptical about the speed of it because there's so many challenges to it. There's so many moving parts and challenges. And the one thing I want to make clear is, yes, I'm an advocate for fighter pay, and I want them to be paid more. I don't say that disparaging the promotions because they're businesses, right? I think it's important in almost everything we do to try to put yourself on the other side. Right. They're a business that has to be loyal to its owners, its shareholders, its stockholders, and to run the business intelligently. And if they have people that are going to participate and are going to fight for a certain pay, that's what they're going to pay, right? I understand that. But that's not my job. My job is to advocate for the athlete. And I think they should be making, I'm not throwing this number out there to exaggerate or make up. I think most fighters should be making 10 times the amount they're making. And if you look at other industries, put sports aside for a second. If you're the 10th best software developer in the world, you're making an absurd amount of money. Yeah. If you're the 10th best CEO, 10th best life coach, you're making a ridiculous amount of money. Why is the 10th best, featherweight fighter not making that amount of money?
And taking shots to the head.
Yeah. And working as hard as any other human being on earth. And there were biases against athletes and celebrities. Look, it's so much fun what they get to do. They get to play a game. They get to play a sport their whole life. There's not a lot of playing in their day. Yeah. There really isn't. Their day is waking up early, living a clean life. Their nutrition is on point. They're not enjoying fast food and ice cream and alcohol and any other vice that we might enjoy. And they're training hard, usually at least twice a day. And maybe they take a day off, right? I don't think Julio Arce takes a day off. But
he's a beast.
Him aside, it's a constant grind, becoming one of the best in the world at what you do. And what some of these athletes are making. So, and the hardest part of an athlete's career, I think, is probably the most important part. It's talking about an MMA athlete, in that once you become a pro, right? Now you're a pro. I'm a professional. I'm gonna make money doing this now. You have, and if your goal is to make it to a large organization where you're gonna make a decent living, you basically have to work as hard as humanly possible for free. Because people think, oh, you're a pro now, you must be making a good living. Well, making $1,000 to fight, that's what they make, $1,000 to fight when you start to become a pro, and have to train twice a day and pay for supplements and protein and drive to and from your training facility and make sure you have gloves and shin guards and headgear, and you go through gloves quickly, and clean clothing and do laundry 3 times a day. You're paying to fight. And where is your money coming from? Well, you're working that second or third job that you're talking about. So you're working another maybe full-time job while you're training and you're making no money.
Well, I think it's also counterintuitive because if they were paid not even just a reasonable, but say a good amount of money, they could, and they weren't spending maybe half their time on trying to have a secondary income so they could just survive, the level would just be superior in my opinion. I mean, we're already talking about the highest performing mixed martial artist in the world, you know, with the UFC, but just for me, it's like for some of those guys who are maybe top 25, top 30, and some of the top 15 guys, unfortunately, it's like if they could, you know, instead of doing those 2 days plus their 4 hour of teaching at their gym, what if it was those 2 days plus, you know, 2 hours of recovery that they could get properly, plus 2 hours of whatever else to improve their career? You would just see, I think, ultimately the level of everyone kind of rise. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
I think that that's mostly true, and I think you also would definitely open up the pool to more people,
Right.
Because there are people that just realize I can't do this. You know, I have to go another route. I'll become a personal trainer, or I'll open a gym, or I'll go out of athletics completely because it's just not viable. Particularly if you have a family. I mean, the sort of the flip side to it is, a lot of people believe, a lot of coaches, and I give it some credit, that people that have it too good, I mean, maybe this is really the other side. You know, you wake up in silk sheets, you're not going to go to the gym and really want to grind. That sometimes that grind and that grittiness and that struggle creates these amazing fighters.
Right. I think it's a little bit of a fine line.
Yes. I'm not sure if it needs to be.
I mean, it's what, you know, people say about Conor. It's like, well, does Conor need to fight? No, obviously he doesn't. Does Conor still want to fight? According to him, yes. Does Conor still look good? In my opinion, yes. But at the end of the day, it's like you put maybe a Conor who's making 50 million and Dustin, who's, well, now Dustin's making probably a couple million. You know, maybe the desire. I mean, I'm sure the desire. It's kind of hard to say, but
well, it's need versus desire, right?
Right.
Does Conor and some of these other athletes doing real life need to fight? Of course, the answer is no. He could survive not fighting, but he has a fighting spirit in him. I mean, and it's real. And when you get the combination of that, then you have, you know, he's the, I don't know what you'd call him, a blue unicorn, right?
Yeah.
He comes along very, very rarely. Someone like that has built such an incredible empire for themselves, but also has that fighting spirit. You know, he wants to be in there.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at felix.levine, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.